IPMNation.com.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full context psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Welcome to All Natural Being. It's Brian. Excited to be hanging out with you again, once again. This will be the last time I'm going to say it because I'm just too excited, like a little kid, open birthday gifts. To be able to hang out with you at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I will tell you, this morning, up before the sunrise, getting out on the bicycle, getting a little bit of a workout in, just fantastic. I'm loving this new schedule. And welcome to All Natural Being. Let me say, now that we've moved to 11 a.m. live, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Then we do the replay at 8 p.m. for those of you that missed it. And then the following morning, still, right, 7 a.m. Eastern, we do the day before. So we're kind of kicking off. We're rewriting the way the clock works. We're doing our own day, our own calendar here. We kick off our day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, All Natural Being, IPM Nation. And I want to thank you. Today is the 85th episode. Get out of here. 85th episode. And we're still number one. And as you know, we're number one, I believe, because this is a show about you. This is a show not about the watered down you. No. This is a show about the all-natural you, the real you, the authentic you. And a lot of people don't like this show. I have to tell you some of the emails, and you're going to find out, I just couldn't let well enough alone. Let me say this. Before we get into the show, each day I post the anaerobic aphorism the day before. So we're going to be talking about goals and plans, grit and presence, and metahumans, superhumans, how superhumans look at the world, how metahumans look at their day. So we're going to be talking about that. But it's just struck me of late, especially with all the critique that I've gotten from some folks about All Natural Being. And that's what I wanted to talk briefly about this morning. Because as a people, we've become so thin-skinned. I said earlier, papier-mâché minds and the downfall of discourse. How the human pincushions in life are constantly pushing political correctness. And it's destroying our ability to have a conversation. When you could say, okay, great, well, that's going to be one of the downfalls of these subhumans running around. And then you have the metahumans, you have the superhumans, you have the people on the cusp like you and I that are excited about exercising all of our capabilities. And you got these little pincushions running around.
Oh, well, that was very offensive to me. I don't like that at all, so I think I'm going to call for your head on a platter.
Right? All these bastions of,
it's for human good.
But then they reach out and attack people if they have a contrary opinion. Which is why I say, remember, please feel free to stop over to, as some have availed themselves, stop over to Brian Brawdy Official on Facebook and just let me have it. Let me have it. Say whatever you like. You know why it's never going to get to me? Because I don't have a papier-mâché mind. I'm not as thin-skinned as a piece of coral. I've got a backbone. Say whatever you like. Well, about me, right. I don't want you slamming other people because I don't know what the shape their backbone is in. But whatever you want to say about me, feel free to say it. But look at what's happening to us. We're encouraging entire generations to buy in this concept of being thin-skinned, of being offendable.
Oh, wow. You said some very offensive things.
Tough nerds. Tough crap. Grow a freaking set of... I'm not falling for my own trap. I'm not going to fall for my own trap there. Grow some thick skin, you spineless little ninny. All these snowflakes running around. There was some warm topics there. I don't want to melt. No. Oh, muffin. My brother John and I say all the time, whenever we get a chance to talk and we think, one of us is being a little wussy, I guess would be the term, a little wimpy, he'll call me and go, "Are you going to be okay, muffin?" That's my term. All these muffins running around.
Oh, you can't say that. That's not politically correct. That's offensive.
Well, here's the thing. We're encouraging an entire generation to think that thin skin is okay, which would be fine if you and I could live on a metahuman, on a superhuman island out in the middle of nowhere. But we have to interact with these dopes. We have to interact. We have to move in and around. They could be at a restaurant you're having dinner at. They could be in traffic if you're driving somewhere. You may have to deal with these people like out at stores or libraries or movies or wherever you go. We have to deal with these people. So we've encouraged an entire generation to grow up going,
"Oh, you can't say that. That's just wrong."
"Okay, Snowflake. Well, let me just apologize."
Not.
Think about it. And so what do you and I do? All we can do is stand for what it means to be impeccably human. And what it means to be impeccably human is your words don't affect me. I don't care. I couldn't care less. And for those people that are in the habit of saying, "I could care less," just do me one little favor. The term is, I couldn't care less. I could care less. I hope people say that to me. I could care less. Okay, well, what's it got to take for you to get to that point? Since you could care less, what do I got to do to get you there? Right? So a part of my job every morning on All Natural Being is to be a contrarian. To remind you of who you are at your core, your inner superhuman, your metahuman, your all-natural being. Not the facade, not the masquerade of Meshuggah running around the day.
Oh, he said some things that were very hurtful. He said some nasty, nasty things.
Okay, well, let me see. What could we do? We could... Oh, here's a thought. We could ignore them. Oh, yes. Instead of being insulted, how about we just ignore them?
Oh, no, we can't have that, Brian. Well, we don't want people's feelings hurt.
Well, we don't? What if your feelings need to be hurt? What if you're a putz? What if you're going through life squandering your all-natural being?
Oh, Brian, you teach meditation. Your whole inner orienteering. You have to be more compassionate than that.
Oh, I am being compassionate. Because sometimes, in order to be effective, compassion has to have teeth. Look, I think if you're a putz, people should let you know. Time's running out in our lives. Wherever we are, whatever stage of our life we're in, we're burning daylight. So if we're going to run around thinking, we've been taught, and we continue to be reconditioned to believe that we should have thin skin, that we should be a pincushion, then you and I are going to have to deal with these people down the road. Everyone running around. You can't wear a T-shirt that says this. You can't say that. You can't make a joke about guys in kilts and girls in skirts. Am I even allowed to say girls? Who knows? Am I mansplaining again? That still kills me. Oh, I even got in trouble for saying manscaping. Not in trouble.
Someone goes, "Really? Did you really have to say manscaping?"
Well, I thought I was saying mansplaining, but the term's totally new to me. So it would be different if you and I could get through life not having to bump in to these subhumans. And people are going to be mad now. They're going to go, "Brian, I can't believe you called them subhuman." Well, I am. Quote me. Subhuman. If you let the words of another get through and pierce your heart, you're a subhuman. It's that simple. Because you have the ability as an impeccable human being to ignore their insults. Right? Snowflake? Muffin? But these pincushions running around under the guise of political correctness, which is an oxymoron in its own term, political and correct. But let's not go down that that rabbit hole. All I'm simply suggesting is for the rest of us that we do what we can to remind people that sticks and stones may hurt your bones. May. But names, they'll never do it unless you let them in. So you got all these political correct co-conspirators running around saying that the words of another person have offended them. Well, here's the deal. As superhumans, as metahumans, when you channel your all-natural being, what's the term they use? Teflon. I'm Teflon. Doesn't stick. And why would we let it? What happened to those human minds that are their sense of self, their self-esteem is so precariously perched that the words of another could derail them, could knock them off the ledge? What happened? So what are you and I going to do? We got to stand up for it. We got to stand up for discourse, for debate. Good golly, you can't say anything anymore. Well, except between us. On the off chance, which is why I say in the disclaimer, look, this show may not be for everybody. I'm going to venture a guess to say if you're a 75% all-natural being, 25% pincushion, and you'd like to kind of deal with some of that 25% pincushion, this show's probably for you. Right? Like us. We're on the cusp. We're right there. We're right there. We can feel it. It's growing inside of us. This show's for us. If not, you're not listening anyways. Hopefully you're out retweeting that I called you a subhuman. Hopefully. Will you be okay, Muffin? So you and I, dedicated to channeling our all-natural being, what are we going to do? We have entire generations of people running around now, offended by the words of another. What happened to human self-esteem? I talk all the time. Kelly's quote, what if being a human is a choice? I think it absolutely is a choice. Well, a real human being doesn't let the words, a real human being isn't a co-conspirator, doesn't let the words of another in. Plain and simple. And you think, okay, Brian, well, we won't focus on that, which is great. Again, if we lived out in the middle of nowhere. But we have to move in and around. So we do what we can to ignore the words of another. It reminds us who we are. I guess we could call the segment,
That's Brian's rant for the day. All right. That's Brian's rant.
All right, we'll take a quick break. What is wrong with me? We'll be right back.
IPMNation.com.
IPMNation.com. Again, welcome to the 85th episode of All Natural Being. Let's do this. That was a little bit of an open. I kind of vented. I got that out of my system. You ever do that? Those things where you're just like, I got to get this off my chest. I got to get it out. I got to let it go. So that was kind of helpful this morning. And just be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for these politically correct pincushions. Because you can't win a debate. Can't win a discussion. So what do? We try to stick together. Oh, unless you're like me and all these snowflakes, they get together. It's like I love bringing a plugged-in hairdryer to a snowball fight. That'll warm you right up. All right. So for today, this is another thing where people just, believe me, you think I could say things about their dog, their cat, their kids. You could make a comment about anything. No, challenge someone's goals in life and wait for the daggers to come. Wait, just. So, apparently, today is Glutton for Punishment Thursdays here at the show. So I'm just looking for it. Anaerobic aphorism. Why use goals or plans when it's grit and presence? Those are the marks of metahumans. And it would be, we could go back through the Harvard study. We could go back through the self-help industry tactics and the people going,
Well, there was a study at Harvard that said that, well, if you set goals, now you're a billionaire. If you didn't, you're working at, a fast food restaurant at a drive-up window.
and we all know now that report is absolute hooey. Even the modern day people, I am not your guru, sending out emails, citing this report, but then you click on, the footnote and it goes to a dead link. Why does it go to a dead link? Because they know it didn't happen. They know it didn't happen. But can't very well sell you a course on how to set goals if they know that goals don't work. So what do? They send you an email and they tell you, oh,
yeah, here you go. Here's my goals. How would you end up if you didn't know where you were going?
talk about open mic night in our minds. So to be truly successful, and that's what I want to focus on this morning. To be truly successful, to be a metahuman, to be a superhuman. Not the politically correct pincushions running around, but to be, right? To be your all-natural being. We're not worried about the future. There's an author, Mandy Hale. I love this quote. And she's alive today. She's written a book. She's out there running around. Mandy Hale. Sometimes it takes a wrong turn to get you in the right place. Well, welcome to the labyrinth. Welcome to the jungle. That's where we are. We say that all the time, don't we? We live in a day where everyone just seems freaked out by this concept of, well, I have to try to plan the future to make it less unpredictable. And Mandy Hale, she's got another quote. She calls it beautiful uncertainty. Beautiful uncertainty. I love that. And that sometimes it takes a wrong turn to get you in the right place. Again, that's life in the labyrinth. I guess you could paraphrase at that point Shakespeare and say, thus we do by indirection find direction out. Right? So it's never a wrong turn as long as we make the next turn. If we make a wrong turn in the labyrinth and we allow it to derail us, we just sit there, then I guess you could argue, yes, Bri, there is in fact a wrong turn. But if you agree that you'll always take one more turn in the labyrinth, you always take one more shot at it, then there are no wrong turns, especially if that turn teaches you the right turn to do. Thus we do, by indirection, find direction out. If I can drop one more name on you, just to kind of belabor this point, it was an English historian, Edward Carr. I think his mistake in this quote right off the bat was he said, no sane person. Well, here we go. No sane person ever believed in a kind of progress which advanced in an unbroken straight line without reverses and deviations and breaks in continuity, so that even the sharpest reverse is not necessarily fatal. It's not brutal. Clearly, there are periods of regression as well as periods of progress. Moreover, it would be rash to assume that after a retreat, the advance will be resumed from the same point or along the same line. Well, he knew that's life in the labyrinth. That's Mandy Hale's beautiful uncertainty. We don't know. But then you throw in just these last handful of thoughts. And literally thousands of similar statements. All my years of research, studying creativity, invention, investigation, as I like to think of it, innovation in the fields of business, the arts, scientific endeavor, entrepreneurship. And I'm certain now that life is in fact that labyrinth. that ever-present, ever-evolving, dynamic hodgepodge of uncertainty, blended with varying touches and degrees of possibility. You and I leave ourselves vulnerable. We leave ourselves open for that possibility. There are no silver bullets, quick fixes, as the crow flies, fairy tale beliefs. All the people running around looking for a shortcut, magic carpet rides to their coordinates, tunnel visioned, blindered as they may be. Everyone wants the bird's eye view. Well, there is no bird's eye view except to the inauthentic. Being alive in this life, bringing your grit, bringing your presence. That's your all-natural being. That's the mark of a metahuman. That's the mark of a superhuman. That's who you are. We talk all the time. May not be normal. Everyone today,
Gotta have a goal. Gotta know what's going on. Gotta be able to fight the uncertainty of the future.
it'd be different if I don't even want to go there. All right, so what do we do then? Just because it's normal doesn't mean it's natural. I think life works just infinitely more erratically than many of us can bring ourselves, that we can allow ourselves to admit. Life is built to be erratic. Now we try eradicate the uncertainty, but that doesn't give us a real life. We look for some faux comfort or flimsy shelter. To do what? To script the unscriptable? That's what life is. It's unscriptable, but we're going to go, oh, no,
I wanted to move some connected dots. I'm going to go from here over to here. Oh, no, Brian, don't forget about over here.
we're brainwashed to believe that we can tell the universe how it should work. We can try to script the unscriptable. We can say to fate, oh, well, I've got this figured out. Don't even worry about it. That's styrofoam peanuts, plastic fruit. It's not authentic. When we take what life throws at us at the moment with a smile on our face, with grit and presence and tenacity, not some target in the future, but tenacity right now in this moment, going, I don't give a good crap what you do. I'm going to be there to be able to confront it. I love Beethoven's quote, I will grab fate by the throat. You and me too. We can do that. Because there are no straight shots. You and I, when we do it right, we live a life, an existence. I talk all the time about rattling your reality. You want to rattle your reality a little bit? There are no straight shots. You and I, if we do it right, we're a ricochet between different rabbit holes. No paths, no straight lines. We're just making our way through the chaos. But no treadmills, no conveyor belts like at O'Hare, the moving walkway. We start here, and
if I get on the walkway, that'll be at the successful completion of my plans. That's what I'll do. Let's hop on that moving walkway.
We got the carrot at the end of the stick etched in our minds. But life's magnificent beauty. It's just like makes your mouth water. Makes your heart race. Makes your pulse just fill your chest. Its beauty comes when we use the spur of the moment. We strike while the iron's hot. In this particular moment, in all the time. And it's the constant repetition of the unrepeatable, never going to come again, but the constant repetition of the unrepeatable moment at hand. And what are we assured of? Outright uncertainty. That our only chance at happiness, fulfillment, success is to catch this wave and ride it to the shoreline. Imagine standing at the beach going,
Oh, please, I don't want that wave. Move it a little to the left.
we can't work life that way. The natural world, just look around. All it shows us is that the only regular is the irregular. But there's something about embracing, squaring your shoulders to the spectacular makeshift of it all. Just the beauty of life. Being, take whatever you throw at me. Let's go. I'm in. I've called it before. God's giant jigsaw puzzle. However you define the divine. God's giant jigsaw puzzle. The labyrinth. And if you and I want to keep leveling up in the labyrinth, then we have to admit, life, it's a cauldron of sudden starts and stops, twists and turns, lefts, rights, pivots, swerves, lunges and lapses, ups, downs. Where every next turn, as fleeting as the turns may be, we can only see them if where we're standing and maybe a step or two ahead. That's where possibility lies. And we leave ourselves open to the periphery. 360 periphery. A big ball of periphery. That we can see what the universe, what God, what nature is throwing at us now. And see what type of shenanigans fate's going to play to derail us from manifesting our destiny, right? We got to have our eyes open. You got to know, I did a spot last night on KSL. Thank you, everyone, for the texts and the Facebooks and this and that for the spot last night on KSL. Well, fate is as much a predator as any mosquito. Fate is as much a predator as any little bug swimming around through the water. Fate looks at you as prey, wants to do what it can to derail you from your destiny. And the moment we go, here's my 10-year plan, fate just licks its chops. This one's a layup. I've already beat him. But when we challenge fate, when we channel our all-natural being, like a mogul field, I can't see what's coming next. Ever undulating deviations and disruptions, stepping stones and stumbling blocks, highs and lows, hits and hurts. All of it in your personal labyrinth. That's how we level up. The dynamic ability of throwing ourselves into this moment in all of time. That's how we can figure out the lattice at our feet. Any framework that we have, any thought, it crystallizes, but behind us, in the past. And we'll get to that. I want to talk to that in about a little bit. Let's take a quick break. It's the bottom of the hour. We'll get to that here in just a second.
You're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. How much longer will you let them hijack your head and your heart?
All right. How much you going to longer? You let them hijack your head and your heart, these politically correct pincushions running around telling you how you should live your life. Walking, talking, Venus flytraps, the never-ending pits of quicksand. How much longer are we going to be subject to that? Because in the end, you know who we get to blame? You and me. Right? Now, if we work on it, there'll come some time, I suspect, we'll be able to forgive ourselves. Or we can get to the point where we go, I'm not going to have anything for me to forgive when I get there. When I'm in my final hour, I will have lived life to the fullest. Grim Reaper comes for me. What do we say all the time? It'll be an empty skin bag of burnt wick.
Oh, well, you can't burn the candle at both ends.
Oh, I'm going to burn the candle at both ends. And whatever wax is left over, I'm going to burn that again. I'm crossing the finish line just drained. That's the energy it takes in the labyrinth, to throw yourself, to say, yes, I'm in, I'm game, to throw yourself into life. That's what makes it such a freaking thrill ride. I talked before about how any type of pattern or framework will crystallize behind us. And I always think, who I learned from Joseph Campbell, the mythologist, the great Joseph Campbell. I learned from Joseph Campbell years ago when Schopenhauer, when he would talk about, when he'd look back over his life, it looks as though it were a plot. But when you are into it, in the moment, it's a mess. Just one surprise after another. Then later, you see it was perfect. Schopenhauer looked at his life as a giant jigsaw puzzle, but in the moment, he couldn't see the pieces. In retrospect, he looked back. There you go. It all fell together because he manifested his destiny. I love this Steve Jobs quote. Now, a lot of people will use this and not really pay attention to what he was saying in the moment. They're going to use this in defense of goal setting. But when the late Steve Jobs from Apple said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. I think he gave, this was a commencement speech. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. So what is he saying? You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to believe in yourself. You have to trust in yourself to run the board. You have to trust yourself to run the labyrinth. That's the confidence we talk all about on allnaturalbeing.com, unlockingmetahumans.com, revivingsuperhumans.com. You get where I'm going with this. We talk all the time about your confidence is about to make a huge comeback. Why? Because as Steve Jobs said, you have to trust. What do you got to trust? You. Which is why I say all the time, I'm a fan of yours, even in those moments when you're not. When you second guess yourself, I'm right there going, whoa, 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 this will be short-lived. Don't worry about it. Don't second guess yourself. I'm fired up for you to remember who you really are. To live life like you mean it. Trusting in your own confidence. Trusting in yourself. And when you bring your own bold, that's both the grease and the glue that helps you connect the dots, as Jobs said. That they'll connect in your future. I don't know if you're familiar with the French mathematician Mandelbrot. When he said, my life seemed to be a series of events and accidents. Yet when I look back, I see a pattern. But there you go. There's a pattern. A series. This was his life, he believed. And he's a pretty sharp guy. A series of events and accidents. Well, that's life in the labyrinth. But we get tunnel vision when we look at our goals. When it's tenacity in the turmoil at hand. Not some target in the future, but having tenacity in the tempest at hand. Having grit and presence. Not goals or plans, but grit and presence in this moment. And again, let me offer the disclaimer. If this is too much, I get it. Believe me, it was a challenge for me to adopt it first. And let me also say, sometimes you waffle. Sometimes you're like, and then you snap out of it. And you go, no, grit and presence. No goals and plans. It's a challenge. It's not easy. That carrot on the end of the stick, it's a formidable foe that fate uses against us. Mandelbrot, my life seemed to be a series of events and accidents. Yet when I look back, I see the pattern. And I think that's one of the many beauties of our gig, of our run here in the Labyrinth. That we only see a formula in the rearview mirror. No formula other than grit and presence in the moment. Now, if this is too much, again, my disclaimer, if this is too much, try this for 20 minutes. Because people say, well,
I want to debate you on that whole goal-setting thing.
there's a laundry list of things that people want to debate me on. And as I say all the time, please feel free to share iTunes or the link or anything. Any friends of yours that may go,
I teach him a lesson or two.
they're welcome to come on. Just have them contact us. allnaturalbeing.com. Have them send me an email. I'll send an email back. We'll get them hooked up. We'll get them on air. Let's do this. Like an old Saturday Night Live, point, counterpoint. Let's do it. But I'm confident if you do this for 20 minutes, if you wait and see in the moment, no preconceived notions, just wait and see in the moment the hand that the universe deals you right then. You ever play cards?
You go, I want a royal flush.
You're lucky if you get 3 of a kind. But you ever do that? You've got one thing. You've got tunnel vision. You're going to get one thing, and then you realize, man, I just should have played what I had. What was here? Here I am busy trying to build this, but I really had the cards. I didn't have a royal flush. I could have gotten 3 of a kind, but no, I have to have a royal flush. Joseph Campbell again. When he says, if the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's path. He also said, look, you got to surrender the life you've planned for yourself so that you can be ready to accept the life the universe has for you. And as he said, if the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. Which always reminds me, always, the Knights of the Round Table out in search of the Grail. They entered the forest where there was no track nor path. They entered the forest where the way was lost and thickest. For to do it any other way, it says right in it, would only have brought them shame. They weren't going to follow a game trail. They were going to blaze their own trail. Because the straight way was someone else's way. If you combine a little bit of Holy Grail on the Knights of the Round Table and Joe Campbell, as we would, right? That's the beauty of it. Life, in fact, is that awesome adventure. But at times, we try to turn it into an expedition. So do me a favor, 20 minutes. Set the expedition aside. You know where you're going to end up, swing, whiff, yawn. Everyone's thrilled for you. Set the expedition aside for just a moment, and for the next 20 minutes, 1/72nd of your day. What if you say, I'm game, I'm in, bring it? I say yes to the awesome adventure. I embrace wholeheartedly the inevitability of the impromptu. I'm going to improvise. I'm going to accept this cryptic chance that the labyrinth holds for me. If there's a horizon, it's like right in front of us, right under our feet. Right in that moment where serendipity and synchronicity bubble up. Where fate's going, oh no, come on. You have to have some desires. You have to have some plans. Well, what if we say our desires for this 20 minutes, 1/72nd of your day, you don't believe me. Don't believe me. I'm simply asking for you to invest in yourself. For 20 minutes to channel your own confidence. For 20 minutes, just trust in yourself. 20 minutes, 1/72nd of your day. Because I am absolutely confident. I've been studying this for 30 years. I am absolutely confident at the end of that 20 minutes you're going to feel this. No question about it. Because the universe is just, laughably immune from all your petitioning. When you enter the moment with grit and presence, where your desire, be full of grit, be tenacious in this moment. Where your plans, no more so than the next 30 seconds. I'm going to be present in this moment. That's all meditation is. That's all mindfulness is. All the big craziness running around. I call it inner orienteering. We'll be talking about it next week. But it's inner orienteering. It's how to move in and around the thoughts, the ideas, the things that bubble up in our awareness, in our minds. It boils down to this. We can have a bag full of hopes and dreams. It's never going to remove the uncertainty. And I've said this before. I've written this in blogs. That longing for the future moment is living beyond your means. It's signing a check you may not be able to cover. And when we do that, when we say, hey, this is what the future's going to hold, we blindfold ourselves. Oh, I know there'll be greener grass. Except fate's waiting right there. Oh, greener grass. Come here, Mr. Pinata. Don't mind me. I'm just going to slide this carrot off the end of the stick, and then I'm going to use this stick to smash your pinata. Right? The stick of fate. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Because all you and I can truthfully count on is this particular now, this instant in all of time. And it's myriad. It's seductive. It's beautiful. Just spine-grabbing uncertainty. And if you give yourself 20 minutes, 1/72 of your day to channel your bold, to bring your own bold, you're going to remember. When you have no particular place to go, you have every opportunity to be. And if you do this for 20 minutes, your confidence is about to make a huge comeback. Because it is about grit, not goals. It's about the process that you and I adopt in the moment, not some fairy tale purpose down the road. It's tenacity, not a target. It's the way life unfolds. How it unfolds from this vast cauldron of uncertainty that is the labyrinth. But people have convinced you that you have to set your eyes on the future, because here's the gig. If you stay focused on the moment, your confidence, your courage, your boldness comes back. They can't control that. They can't saddle that. They can't break the spirit of that. They can't touch your all-natural being. So it's a bait and switch. Look around you today. It's a bait and switch.
Oh, well, let's get them to believe over here.
Dun, dun, dun. Because we can't afford to let them sit still and look in the mirror. They figure out who they really are. Oh. We can't have that destiny manifest. We can't have all kinds of people running around being impeccably human. No wonder our planet's toast. But for you and I, when we agree to square our shoulders, no matter what fate throws at us, we're going to win. And we're going to do it with grit and presence. We're going to have confidence. We're going to trust in ourselves once again. You're going to bring your own bold. Now, if you haven't done it for a while, it's dormant. It's not dead. It's still in you. That's your all-natural being. That's your meta-human. And that's why Kevin Kelly is right to ask us, what if being human is a choice? So you and I have a choice. Politically correct pincushions or meta-humans? Now, everyone's going to go, oh, so you think you're better than us? Yes, we do. We are. Why? Because we're not putzes. We're not pincushions. We don't let the words of another person offend us.
Blah, 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 blah.
Reminds me like Charlie Brown's mom. Those of you remember, as old as I am, Charlie Brown cartoons. That's how we listen to the pin cushions, looking for people to stick because misery loves company. What if being human is a choice? I believe it is. So I believe you can be impeccably human, which is the key to unlocking your superhuman, your metahuman status. Or you can be a subhuman. No one's going to like that. I can hear it coming now. Oh, I got so carried away. 331-684-7685. 331-684-SOUL. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Because it's never too late to take your life back.
It's never too late to take your life back from the politically correct pincushions running around our planet. Talk about chaos. So let me ask you, if you get out your journal, you get out your logbook, I think we discussed yesterday, how cool would it be if you could just get up this morning and list a few things, maybe even last night before you fell asleep, list a few things that you're thankful for, that you're truly thankful for. And for me, bottom line, every morning, I'm truly thankful for my all-natural being. Before all the conditioning, before all the education, before all of that, I'm thankful for a shot in the labyrinth. So, of course, one of the things we talk about, how gratitude, right? Because thanks for the run of it. Thanks. You could have given this energy to anybody else. And we look at the myriad chance that any one of us is here. You've heard me say before, if your great-great-great-great-grandfather dated and married, procreated with anyone else other than your great-great-great-great-grandmother, you wouldn't be here. Think about that. They could have been hanging out with anybody.
Oh, yeah, well, I went over here, and then I did do this, or I didn't do that.
Look at the chance that any one of us is here. So we can wake up every morning, fall asleep every night. We'll wake up every morning going, hey, I'm pretty thankful I'm here. I made it to the show. This is the big game. This is the Olympics. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say Olympics since I'm not a sponsor, so let me just, if anyone is offended by the fact that I said Olympics because I'm not a title sponsor, then tough, muffin. This is the game. This is the show. This is the labyrinth. And bring your thick skin. Bring your backbone. Or just sit on the sidelines. Be politically correct. Let the words of other people offend you. And you'll be responsible in the end. In the end, you'll be held accountable. There will come a time where you're sitting in your last moment and going, did I give my life the full run? What would you say? Did you wake up every morning aware of the things that you're thankful for? And another tangent of always falling back, always consciously readopting your all-natural being is this concept of forgiveness. Sure. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean we continue to leave ourselves, as we talked yesterday, we leave ourselves out there to be victimized, because we weren't victimized. We went from victim to visionary simply by going, my ego had its feathers ruffled. But who wants feathers? My ego had its nose out of joint. My all-natural being didn't. That reservoir of universal energy, Big Bang, Big Breath, the divine, however you define it, that isn't ruffled. That pool at the center, that marrow of our minds, the very spirit of our soul, that can't be touched. So all this political correctness is because look at people with amnesia. They've forgotten who they truly are. So they're hurt. They're scared. They're thin-skinned. They've got the backbone of a piece of cooked fettuccine. That doesn't mean we have to let that rub off on us. It most certainly doesn't mean we have to let our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our friends, our extended family, the people that we move in and around every day, doesn't mean that we have to stand by and let them fall victim to all this mashugana. We don't have to do it. So when you fall asleep at night, you list the things that you're thankful for. You list the things, thankful, grateful, right? You have compassion for the people that are going to be pincushions. What else can we do? All we can do is lead by example. We go, no, say whatever you want. Don't care. Wah, 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 wah. Not going to affect me. Sorry. Went fishing. Gone fishing. I've got a sign up on the door. No vacancy. Occupancy over, right? No, thank you. I'm not here. Not signing for the package. Not doing it. And then they go, did you ever notice that they're like unflappable? Did you ever notice that they just seem to be moving right along? Nothing ever seems to get to them? Well, that's you and me. We channel our all-natural being. People start to go, yeah, nothing ever seems to derail them. They don't seem to get all that worked up. Wonder how they do that. How do they do it? They surrender being a co-conspirator. No more pincushions. No more snowflakes. Oh, muffin. Think about it. When we operate from that position of where we can't be wounded, there's no way for the words of another to wound us. Only the offendable can be offended. And people go, I want to disagree. I go, well, then look at what the word means. Only the offendable, right? Because if you're offended, that means you're offendable. But if you're not offendable, then you can't be offended. What's so hard about this? When you and I channel our all-natural being, our metahuman, our superhuman that sits within each and every one of us, life's an easy gig. We're taking whatever the labyrinth throws at us. We're tapping back into our confidence. We're tapping back into our all-natural boldness. And we're not going to worry. We're not going to listen. It's not open mic night in our minds, where every jackass with an opinion thinks they get to tell us. They get to vote on how we're going to make it through the labyrinth. You and I are too busy leveling up in the labyrinth, unlocking our metahuman, to listen to all this drool of the snowflakes. So if you pull out your journal, your logbook, we write down what we're thankful for. We focus on the people in our lives that we're going to forgive. Why? Why are we forgiving them? Because they were never ultimately able to touch us in the first place. Did they rattle our ego? All right. But we're not our ego. We're not our thoughts. At some point we can go, yep, that sure stung, but I'm done. Because if not, talk about mind control. I saw this thing the other day where a football player, NFL football player, says, oh, I gave up Pokemon Go. Okay. 6'8", 400-pound, muscle-bound lineman.
Oh, I gave up Pokemon Go.
Why? Well, because I think it's mind control. And I just locked on the term mind control. That was a great term. So I thought, every time we bring the baggage into the present moment, every time we don't forgive someone, in the moment, we're stung by it, we adopt it, we don't embrace it, we engage it, we feel that feeling in the moment, process it, and then move on. Because if not, it's mind control. If we don't, then these things that we're so offended by, these pins that come in because we're just one big ball of politically correct pincushion, then we give up to the person that first injured us, allegedly. We're subjecting ourselves to their ability to exercise mind control over us. Why not just give them the remote control to your mind? Why not just give them the joystick for your brain? If we can't forgive someone, that is mind control. The hell with them. Doesn't mean we have to hang out with them all the time. It simply means that when we channel our all-natural being, we can't have anything but compassion. We can't have anything but forgiveness. How great is it to walk through life going, that didn't sting as bad as I first thought. I forgive them. And then you have these other people who were traumatized, and years after the event, they're still mind controlled by an event that happened 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 50 years ago, whatever it was. It's still mind control. We take stuff way too personally. Forgive it. Forget it. Let it go. Doesn't mean that we have to be exposed to it in the future. We hope we learn from it. But when we say, that person, that really hurt me, then you're surrendering. Well, look, we hurt ourselves. We interpret an event and then we decide if it hurts or not. We come to a crossroad where something happens, it's not what we wanted, and at the same time something happened that we didn't want. So something happened that we didn't get what we wanted, and that's the perfect storm, the confluence of those two events. Oh, now that hurt. Okay, well, in the moment, take a deep breath, best acronym, breathe in, exhale, scan, take action, and then after that, when we forgive them, they no longer exercise control over us. They no longer have an open mic in our minds. So if I were going to sell something, I'd say, here you go, one size fits all. Right, you want to learn forgiveness, you want to learn compassion, you want to learn, what are we talking about? Forgiveness, compassion, gratitude, thankfulness. You want to learn how to bring your own bold? Remember who you are. There you go. Don't have to order before midnight tonight, right? Right? All lines are closed. Won't open anyone else up to my class. No, thank you. All good. Remember who you are. Because at your core, all those things come naturally. Forgiveness, of course. Compassion? Why wouldn't I have compassion? It sucks being a pincushion. Of course my heart goes out to those folks. In theory. Not leaving my heart open to accept another pin from them. I've kind of learned. Once bitten, twice shy. Isn't that the song? My, once bitten, twice shy. I think that's it. So there we are. We get to decide in the moment. That's the mark of a metahuman. That's the sign of a superhuman. And I think you deserve it. You're here. Why wouldn't you? So as we move forward, I guess we could say our goal for today, let's not be a snowflake. Let's not be a muffin. Let's channel who we really are. Ignoring everything else. Let's do this. We'll be right back. There you go. There you go.
Did you really say subhuman?
We'll be right back.
No self-help industry tactics here. You're listening to The Real Deal. Brian Brawdy with All Natural Being on IPM Nation.
Self-help industry tactics. All right, let's be done with them for today. Right? Those for people who believe that there really is a part of them that needs help. You don't need any help. Just remember who you are. You're a badass already. You were born one. All we have to do is decide, is today the day that I decide to live the way I was born? That I go back to being my own biggest fan, my own best friend. It really is that simple. And if you think I'm full of crap, try it for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That's all we have to do. One 20-minute victory. 1/72nd of your day. Breathe in, exhale, scan your horizon, then think, then talk, then take action. And when the action is writing down all the things you're grateful for, writing down the things that you're going to forgive in life because ultimately they didn't get really into me. They ruffled my ego a little bit, but they didn't touch my core. When we do that, and we have compassion for people that haven't learned it, there you go. There's your grand slam. You and I are done. No more Meshuggah, just leveling up in the labyrinth. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much once again. Episode 85. Remember tomorrow when we hang out, my one purpose is going to make sure that your confidence makes a huge comeback. Have an absolutely fantastic day.
You've been listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy.
Join us live every Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern.
Also, check us out around the clock at allnaturalbeing.com.
Until then, always remember to bring your own bold.
There's the B word again. Always remember to bring your own bold. Where does that boldness live? In the marrow of your mind, the core of your spine, wrapped in a naturally thick skin that doesn't let anybody get to them. Have a fantastic day.
IPMNation.com.